Number 5. Vampire. The vampire costume are now so diverse, everyone can be one by just putting on fangs, applying pale makeup, and by tweaking the costumes with a bit of glitter or a full-on tuxedo and a cape. Of course, don't forget the fake blood near the lip area or some drips on the clothes. It has become a favorite for many years and is still a must during Halloween as it is very easy to pull off. So before Twilight, before the Underworld, before Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and even before Dracula, the notion of vampirism has existed for thousands and thousands of years, as recorded in most cultures, but only around the 18th century were the term vampires used. The stories of vampire-like creatures have been around for so long that there are different versions of them in different cultures, as old as the Mesopotamian times, which over the decades pops out all around the globe. The common features they have are that they are the undead. They have a grayish or purplish complexion, from not being alive, and the act of drinking blood. Apparently, early vampires don't necessarily have fangs, which differs with the modern vampires, which at least have sharpened teeth. The Dracula definitely made the standard for today's vampire, but even that appearance is currently changing. Number 4. Sexy costumes. You've seen the sexy devil, sexy nurse, or even the sexy watermelon. Literally anything can be sexy as long as the costume designers have a crazy imagination. But ever wondered when it became acceptable to wear things like this for costume parties or Halloween? The sexy costume phenomenon has been around since the late 18th century. Masquerade balls were the latest fad during the 18th and 19th centuries, and this was the start of it all. People were getting daring, and showing one's bare legs were considered out of the norm. Since everyone was wearing masks, it acts as a form of escapism where people would act outside normal behavior. Thus, the costumes gave people an opportunity to indulge oneself to their desires, may it be sex, booze, or even gambling without social or official sanction. But only until the 1970s where an explosion of adult costumes occurred. It's the age of freedom and change, hippies, social movements, and more, so people were becoming bolder, and so did the sexy costumes. Number 3. Zombie. The idea of a zombie apocalypse is scary or exciting to some, but like the vampire, the zombie characteristics are slowly changing on how the media portrays them, with an exception that zombies are usually violent and just wants to eat. The idea, or even the English word zombie, was first recorded in 1819, which came from Africa. In the Haitian zombie folklore, zombies are dead people that are physically revived by using necromancy of a bokor. A bokor is a sorcerer or priest which uses voodoo. The zombies are used as a personal slave and has no will of its own. So we can say that the first zombie was caused from the fear of the dead moving on its own, which got reanimated using magic, and after decades goes by and people are starting to think differently, now zombies are usually caused by some chemical or virus, which makes people into mindless beings that attack just for food. Number 2. Bedsheet ghost. Before I talk about the bedsheet ghost, most ghosts that we know of are those that have no physical body, no feet, floating about, dull, and are mostly or fully transparent. These are the common appearance that we call a ghost. So, where does a bedsheet fit in all of this? There's a possibility that they came from the burial shroud, which are usually a white cloth that bound and covered the corpse from head to toe. But during the Renaissance, which was the time when plays were a very big form of entertainment, they had to find something to depict a ghost on the stage. They started off with heavy armor, but as time goes on, it became funny as the sound of armor always made it impossible to jump scare the audience. Thus actors began appearing draped in white cloth to portray ghosts. Number 1. Witch. We always see the witch every Halloween. We know witches are someone, usually female, that practices witchcraft, or should we say magic. People that are witches do not look any different from any other human being, but where did the ugly witches came from? It was mostly just from the storytellers of folklore, which usually depicted evil as ugly. There's also the Wizard of Oz, which was the start of the green-skinned witches that we know today. But witches and Halloween always come hand in hand. This is because During the ancient festival of Samhain, which is a Gaelic festival marking the end of the harvest season celebrated from the sunset of the 31st October, during Halloween, witches were thought to always have this ritual of lathering ointment on their skin to give themselves an ethereal appearance. During that time as well, people believed that on Halloween night, the spirits of the dead would roam freely, and so people believed witches were doing no good during Halloween. That's why the witches are always associated with Halloween.